Hi, my name's Marietta Mehanni, and I'm going to talk a little bit about functional muscle conditioning. Now, there's two things I want to point out at the moment. Firstly is functional training is becoming really, really popular with personal training. The one arena that it hasn't become popular with still yet is group fitness, because with group fitness, we're still looking at, well, a bicep track and a tricep track and, a back track, when in reality, functional training is about training muscle movement patterns rather than specific isolated muscles. So this particular presentation is about how do we integrate it. We're all pretty familiar with movements like lunges, and they're great compound exercises, but how do we make it functional? So what I decided to do is add the wood chop, that we all know is a great functional exercise, to something like a lunge. So we'll start off with a movement where you're just holding the dumbbell here. Now the second thing I want to point out is about pelvic floor. And pelvic floor being something I'm really super passionate about, you need to make sure that you've got some modifications for some of your clients. So I'm going to go through those. So your first exercise is actually just a step forward and a step back. Now the key thing is to make sure that the client lifts their back heel, or your class lifts their back heel off the floor. So these exercises are great for just personal trainers too. And then you isolate it to just one leg. Now this is where you actually start doing the movement pattern. So I'm going to face you so you can actually see what I'm going to be doing. And what we do is we start off by actually taking the dumbbell over the leg that you're moving forwards. Now this is the pelvic floor safe option. Not too much momentum and not too much depth in the lunge. So let me turn side on so you can actually see the range of motion I'm talking about. Now as your client becomes more comfortable with that, take a bigger and deeper step. And also this you need to be mindful of, knees. But the repetitions is where the intensity is going to build, because the dumbbell can't be too heavy. Too heavy means that there'll be too much momentum and they won't be able to control the movement so well. But you do want a little bit of a swing. That's why the weight of the dumbbell, I wouldn't recommend much more than 3 kilos, maybe 4 for guys. So here, up. Now, if you want to make it more challenging, lift the knee and lunge. Lift the knee and lunge. Lift the knee and lunge. Once again, pelvic floor safe option would be to knee and just take it back. Knee and just take it back, as the depth is what places more load on the pelvic floor. Now the next exercise I want to go through with you is one that's actually on the floor that goes and takes 2 exercises we traditionally know, one for glutes and one like the plank, but we combine them together. So let me just pop the dumbbell down. So coming down to the floor, the first exercise, and this is the pelvic floor safe option, is hands on the floor and just doing a donkey kick. Now, just performing the movement is fine, but you won't get the intensity in your core unless you activate 2 major muscle groups. One's your pelvic floor, and one's your lower abdomen, which is your transverse abdominis, the lower, deeper fibers down across the pelvis. So you want to be extending the leg back and focusing on your breathing. Extending the leg back, not too fast. The next level is to drop down to the elbows, and this is where the leg can now be lifted up a little higher. Breathing out as you take the leg back and in. This is still fine for pelvic floor. Some women may find this placing a little bit of pressure on pelvic floor, and that's fine. They can come back up onto their hands. The next level is to actually take the leg off the floor, so you're doing like a plank. Now it's really important that here you allow the knee to drop down to the floor if the client needs to take the pressure off. If you're going to keep the leg completely off the floor as you do this exercise, the most important thing that you focus on is that your participants or your clients are breathing, because it's on the breath hold with the abdominal brace that therefore they're not using their core and they're pressing down against their pelvic floor. Remembering that pelvic floor is the core or foundation to your pelvic floor, to your core, sorry. So when you get down to that position, don't be doing it forever. It's not a marathon. They need to be repeating this for 3 minutes. I usually do around about 8 to 12 repetitions and we're done. Then give clients a rest. But if you want to take it just one step further, because I know some of you guys are just, well, you like a challenge, Do a little different range of motion. So go into abduction. Here, side, center, down. Here, side, center, down. That can then move up onto the hands. Here, side, center, down. And then if you want to add the extra challenge, add a push-up. Once again, it's not about how long you can do this for. You want quality repetitions, you want great form, and you want those participants and those clients actively activating those deep abdominal and pelvic floor muscles. If that's gone, your core's not on, and therefore is it still functional?